Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Lev. I'm a photographer and filmmaker here from Hamburg. And today we're gonna talk about which camera you should buy first if you want to get into film photography.
Yeah, I make decisions to glow. Ridiculous flow, potential to glow. You know, I just do that. Consolidate my regions, line it up, put them together. Anyone that ever let me down, forget them forever.
Now, I've seen a lot of videos on this topic, even though I'm not a film photography beginner anymore, but I just watched a lot of videos and it seems to me that most people suggest getting the Canon AE-1, and I think it's a great camera, and I also will reference it later in this video, but I don't think it's suitable for most beginners, and I will also tell you why. Now, I think the most important part in starting something new is not getting discouraged and kind of seeing it results in your new approach to a new medium. And I think for most cameras that are being suggested, you will not get this. You will run into a lot of problems. So today we're gonna create some user scenarios, and I will talk a little bit more about which camera suits best your desire, and you will also see like kind of what kind of different styles you can get out of this. Now the first one is the academical way. Now I think the Canon AE-1 suits that the best. Why the academical way? Because I think in most universities, if you try to study communications design or visual communication or photography even, you will get a course that's called Basic Photography Skills. And most of the professors will actually tell you to get a film camera because you will learn a lot from it. You will learn how to properly expose an image, how to use a light meter, how to actually slow the process down and really think about what you want to capture, because it's very different to digital photography. You will only have 36 exposures on a 35mm roll, so you will really have to slow down and think a lot about your composition, about your lighting, about your exposure, and so on. Now, with this camera, it's quite cheap. You can get it, I think, if you really get a bargain on it, I think for 50 bucks or 50 euros actually, sorry. And most likely you will get one for about 70. Maybe you can find it even cheaper on the flea market when somebody is just selling it who doesn't know how much it is worth. And the lenses are also really great. So I think that's great, but you have to get a whole new system. These are FD lenses, so without an adapter you can't really use them on a digital body. Now, what also is quite noticeable about this camera is for real beginners, it's quite confusing because you have to learn a lot about the triangle of exposure, about like ISO film, so it's a lot of new information that you have to process. And if you're getting into a new space, what helps you the most, I think, is getting quick results that make you search for more. And with this camera, I mean, you can use the exposure meter, but you will not get that feeling that you get exactly what you want out of it. So I think this is a great camera if you're taking it very seriously. But if you're more casual about it and actually just want to have fun with it first, I have some suggestions for you. Suggestions. Wow, that's a hard word. Suggestions. Suggestions. Wow. I speak Russian and this shit is hard. Suggestions. All right. This is the quick and dirty way. Now, why the quick and dirty way? This is a point and shoot camera with a flash. Now, you will probably recognize the style if I show you some example photos here. It's been used by countless photographers, and even back in the 80s or 90s, I don't know, let's see. Terry Richardson used Yashicas all around and created a very unique style of shooting on film that is still recognized to this day. But also modern photographers like Gunnar Stahl, for example, who photographed a lot of hip-hop artists, are using these kinds of cameras. Now, this is the Yashica T3 Super. It has a really great looking lens. It's the Carl Zeiss Tessar lens, and there is one that's even better. It's the Yashica T4, but the price point is quite different. When I first got this, I think it was 75 bucks in mint condition. Now it's up to 150 and 200 because of like the resurgence of, you know, everybody likes it. I mean, everybody wants this style, so it will naturally increase in price. With the Yashica T4, you're looking about 400 to 450 euro investment. So that's quite a large sum of money for someone who maybe just wants to get into this. Now, I have to say that these are really sturdy, but if you're looking to shoot nightlife photography with it and taking it out on like your nights with your friends, then I will have to warn you, this is my third one. I call this one Igor, because Igor is unbreakable. With this camera, you don't get exposure control. Like, you just switch this open and just take a shot. Now, this is how it works. It's really easy, it's really fun, it's spontaneous, and I think that's why most photographers really like to use it, who work in a kind of environment like around hip-hop artists and musical artists, where if you want to capture a really stunning image, but also like a kind of private moment and spontaneous moment, you have to be really fast. Like, this is the speed at which you're going at, and that's it. Now you have also two viewfinders, so you can actually shoot like this and see the image up here. So that's also quite a nice thing to do with street photography if you're not like used to going up like this to people and shooting right in their face, even though that's a great exercise we did at university. But anyways, that's the quick and easy way. Point and shoot camera, everything's automatic, but you get a really nice image out of it and a really great style, and you will immediately feel this kind of excitement that comes from actually getting these pictures, and they will all look incredible to you in at least the first 200 rolls, I think. Now, this is the longevity way. I think when we as photographers talk about gear, we oftentimes forget that you can't always afford everything, and getting a fully new system around something is quite expensive. Now, this will be even more true if you're getting into medium format cameras and large format cameras, where you have to get a whole new set of lenses and a body and film backs and actual film costs that come into this. So I think keeping your equipment in one kind of brand is a great way to combat that. Now, this is the Canon EOS 1N. It's the most modern film photography camera that Canon produced. So after this, the first digital cameras came out. And I think this has been the equivalent to what nowadays is the 1DX Mark II. It's the most professional camera body for film photography use. Now, it has a lot of frame bursts, so it was used by mostly sports photographers, but it also has like an amount of features that's just incredible for a camera that is this cheap. I think I got mine for 120 bucks on a photo flea market, without a lens, but then again, that's the special thing about this, is you can actually use EF lenses, because this is an EOS camera. So I can use the nifty 50 I have on here. It's the 50mm 1.8. It's a plastic one that only costs around 100 bucks. And for 220 bucks, I got this setup, which will hold great images. But you also have, of course, a light meter in here, and one of the biggest things ever, autofocus. Autofocus? Autofocus. Now, I think it's really important to at some point nail your manual focus, but I think sometimes it's just easier and very comfortable to use autofocus, especially on lenses that have an aperture of 1.4, 1.2, and so on. And that is exactly what I mean by longevity. I mean, this camera itself, by itself, it's a great thing, but the EF lenses you can use later on your Canon cameras, on your DSLRs and your digital cameras. So I've built an ecosystem around my whole camera equipment that allows me to switch every lens I have with every camera body I have. And it's not every time I buy a lens, I can use it on 4 different cameras and can actually get 4 different results, because every body reacts different to a lens. And that, I think, is very bang for your buck. It's very economical to think about this kind of stuff, especially if you're really, really into film photography or photography in general. Because down the line, you will pay a lot of money for your gear, and I think every way you can kind of combat that is good. So these are my 3 suggestions for you to start film photography. Now you have to really dig deep and really realize what kind of scenario your situation fits the most. Do you want a quick and easy way? Do you want to start really fast and photograph your friends and create great memories? Then the Yashica is your pick. Believe me, you will have an enormous amount of fun with it, and the printed pictures always come out looking amazing, even with the cheapest film you can get at the drugstore. Now, if you really want to get into it and learn from scratch how to use a camera and never have problems with any other camera ever again, take the Canon AE-1, which is mostly suggested also by other people. Now, if you don't want to spend a lot of money every time you try to go into one certain niche of photography, try to think more about the long-term investment you're doing and get the Canon EOS 1M. Now, I hope this helped you to kind of decide for yourself which camera you should get first and help you take the first step to actually taking this up as an interest and taking up film photography as a hobby. Yeah, I hope it helped. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we see each other very soon. До свидания.